I
as
will
it
say
is.
this, that everybody that I've talked to, they highly recommend you as far as attorney. As far as somebody that knows school law. I mean, you can get anybody out here to be an attorney, but as far as someone that knows school laws and like the ins and outs, and like you said, the complexities of all the stuff where, the law isn't clear, that you are probably the best in this area. So I will, I will say that. And that's the reason the reason that I wanted to ask you this question here is to make sure that, to ensure that that you would be somebody that would be very, forthcoming with this.
And that's really the reason I reached out to Mike, is I knew his qualifications and felt like he was obviously the most qualified candidate. We've shared this through email, so I would assume, you guys could reply.
Yeah, I talked to Craig, we
If we had any issues.
So I think all I got was a copy of it being requested for the hiring to the superintendent. That's all I got.
I will tell you this, every board that I've ever represented, most of Department of Education and OEA and people always want you to have a contract, a written contract. In fact, they criticize you or try to leverage you into doing that. Most of these contracts are from a year to 3 years. If you look at that, it's basically employment at will, so that if you don't want the attorney, you ought to be able to terminate your relationship at any time at no cost to you. So it's okay with me. I'll help you out if you want to, but you don't owe me anything. And at any time you want to, if you did this, you wanted to terminate it, you could do that. And I will tell you this, every time after a new superintendent, at any board I've ever represented, when a new superintendent's come on, I've always offered a resignation so that you could do whatever you wanted to or maybe go in a different direction. So I'm not advocating that you hire me. I'm just telling you the way it is. So you don't, you're not, if you do this tonight, you're not marrying me for any period of time. I was a board attorney at the request of some people at Education in Bath County for about a week and a half, because the Department of Education removed one board member, and they had a suit pending against the superintendent, and they wanted to get that dismissed. So the new person came in, and then he had served his suspension, and but so it's like a coaching job.
I would say things are interesting in Breathitt County.
Yeah, they bought a building, but didn't buy the land, and they've got some strange problems.
Yeah.
They own a building, but they don't own.
They don't own the land.
Yeah.
Oh,
Is there any further discussion on this? If not, I'd like to have them. Go ahead.
Well, I'll ask the question, we were just back here discussing it, how can the board, I mean, I know you can, but my question is, why would you pick one guy, and agree on it without, one, advertising it, because I think it should be an advertised position, and secondly, why would you hire him on anything more than an interim basis if you did even bridge that gap? But I don't even, there's supposed to be a search committee for an attorney or something along that line.
No.
I think,
No.
well, I know there is one for the superintendent, but it just seems like you got a board member blindsided, you've got only one candidate on the table, and I don't know of any business that only takes one candidate. I mean, I've been in healthcare for years, I've been in management, and never would we would we take only one recommendation only. And, I'm in this community, and I question that.
That's my concern as well. I mean, Mr. Schmidt, I don't know you, and have nothing, you may very well be the most qualified applicant. But my question is, when there's only one applicant, how do you know that? I've been in management for a long time, and I as well would never accept just one recommendation and one resume, or he very well may be the most qualified individual.
That's probably not the norm, but in this situation, you know, he's
Well,
overly
now-
qualified actually. And we think during a transition period, he could guide and lead us to a certain extent.
That, and I'm not saying you can't, but I feel like that other people should have been offered and had the opportunity to apply for the position.
Okay. Thank you for your comments.
But from what I can understand, education, you know, an attorney that specializes just in education, kind of hard to find. I mean, I've talked to a number of, people like, well, this guy's good, this person, as far as educational law, they're not all that well versed. I do know from Mr. Smith, I remember his name coming up a few times, and and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that in times past, we've had things that have called for heavy duty stuff, to bring in the big guns, that he has been the person. I think you were, with, like I said, the West Jordan case, that he was here at that time. So it's not that his name was not familiar to me. I knew, and from talking to other attorneys, everyone spoke very, very highly of him. I know there was a number of local names that were mentioned. I actually went to talk to one person, wasn't really interested in it, a lot of it because of the political aspect of it. They don't want to be, on the wrong side of the fence. So I have no problem with hiring somebody from outside the area with no politics and things like that involved. Someone that will just tell us what the law says, and that's it. And that's basically like I did on this one thing here. And what he told me was truthful. I mean, that was, we've been tied down with an attorney for a number of years that I don't feel like it's really done the board justice. I'll just leave it at that and not say anything else.
Okay. Do we have any further discussion on this issue?
So,
Not, I need a motion to approve. The hiring of the board attorney.
I'll make a motion. I mean, if it's just to hire, we can dismiss at any time.
That's correct.
I have no problem with Mr. Smith as far as I know.
Okay, I need a second.
I'll second.
Motion second, all in favor, indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. Any opposed?
Just for the fact I like to see it. Talk to them more.
Motion carries. Mike, we appreciate your service. You're welcome to stay through the meeting.
I didn't know whether, I guess your next thing, probably not necessary, Mr. He knows.
And